Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
Peloton, let's go!
This holiday, with the right music and the right motivation from world-class instructors,
We're gonna pick it up a notch. It's the holiday season.
you might just surprise yourself with what you're capable of. Work out to thousands of live and on-demand classes, from running to cycling to yoga. Try Peloton risk-free with a 30-day home trial. New members only, not available in remote locations. See additional terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial. Peloton, motivation that moves you.
So hello, beautiful.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Well, I'm kind of good. I'm not feeling great. So I need you actually. I'm nauseated, so I need acupuncture.
Yeah.
That helps it. Anyway, welcome everyone to But We Digress. Today we are talking about Unsolved Mysteries, Season 3, Episode 2. And the title of this one is Something in the Sky. Something in the Sky.
Such a good episode.
It is. So I was very pleasantly surprised. I was happy that this one wasn't as biased as the other one was. Like the first episode, you know how it left like a whole bunch of stuff out and like it was a little like skewed. This one, I didn't feel like that was anything. I didn't feel that way watching it. And then when I went and did the research afterwards, I didn't
I agree.
find anything crazy. You know, everything was in the episode. So so I felt much more like I felt like they redeemed themselves from that aspect.
Right. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens now that this is aired, because there were so many sightings back then. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot more people coming forward with pictures or just things that they recorded. Or I know it was 94, if I'm correct.
1994,
right? Yeah.
March 8th, 1994. Yeah.
So cell phones were not a thing yet, but I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more evidence coming forward.
Yeah. The people who they haven't talked to will start to come forward now. So this is UFOs, you guys. And do you want, I guess we can share those at the end if you want. Share your stories, your personal experiences with UFOs. Or what do they call it? Not UFOs, like
AF. What is the other word for UFO that they're using? Yeah,
some other, not an object, but they would call it like, I don't know.
I'm looking it up.
A ship or something. But at the time they call them UFOs.
UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll just call them UFOs.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Because that's what they are. They're unidentified, they're flying, and they're objects. So well, let's go back to March 8th, 1994. You want to take it away?
I'd say I was 9. This was in Michigan.
I was in college.
Yeah, so I think it started with all these 911 calls coming in with, I think they said over 60 people calling in saying that they had seen bright lights. They were describing unidentified UFOs.
Out over Lake Michigan.
Yeah, and it was funny because they were you could tell like the hesitation in people's voices when you listen to the 911 tapes. Like, do I call 911? I don't want to take up your space. Time. What's going on? So they were just getting so many calls in that it ended up that somebody from the police called the actual weather center to ask if they had seen anything in the sky.
The National Weather Service operator on duty in Muskegon, Michigan.
Yes. Who is a scientist who did not really believe in UFOs.
Yes, absolute scientist, right? Like,
right.
Up and down the board. Geek, science weather geek his whole life. And now he's living the dream in Muskegon, Michigan. Working solo the overnight shift or whatever it was. Monitoring radar or whatever it is they do there.
Which was interesting. So when they made that phone call, of course it was recorded. And so we get to hear the conversation, which was edited for the TV show, but they have a actual transcript, I believe, of the 911 call on unsolvedmysteries.com or have like evidence, which was cool. So of course, they're describing the lights and, hey, we got people calling in. They're calling and seeing lights. What do you see? Oh, well, let me just check my equipment. Yeah, okay. Kind of laughing it off, not expecting to find anything. But sure enough, on the radar, there was a UFO, which is hard to see, which, I'm not a meteorologist or anything like that, so I don't know how the equipment necessarily works. But he explained it as though it's like you're in a dark room and you have a flashlight and you're trying to find a fly that's constantly moving around. So, but it sounded like the object was moving at different speeds. It was moving at different heights off the ground in the water. So, of course,
what's cool about this too is they show him, obviously reenacted for TV or whatever, but they show what would have been like him watching the radar and seeing how the radar thing goes around in the little bloop circle and the little the ray showing where the three dots were that represented the things in the sky, the metallic objects flying in formation or whatever. And so also, I thought it was cool because they could show that. Yeah.
Super cool. And also that they charted out the diagrams of the radar on the website as well, which I just started pulling that up. So I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. I'll have to look into it more, but they did put that under the evidence. So of course, being a scientist, he wants to eliminate everything he can or figure out what it is. And I think one of the things he said was it was very shiny. So it had to have been like a metallic type substance that with the speed that it was going, it was impossible for it to be like swamp gas or like a balloon or things like that. And then I think the 1 turned into the 3. It was changing. And then this was like the big one was it just stopped and was stationary for a while over the water.
Yeah.
So that was, and he's, pretty fascinating if you ask me.
Yeah. So he's like watching them and like they shift speeds and altitudes like faster than anything. Like he said, they looked kind of like an aircraft of some kind, the metallic, whatever you could tell by, like you said, the way the radar was hitting, and they could tell it was dense or, whatever it was. But it wasn't behaving like aircraft does because of the weird formation bouncing and then the splitting off, like one split into 3 or whatever, and all of that. So,
yeah. So Mr. Jack was thoroughly starting to wonder what the hell is going on. And so what else did he eliminate? Well, the police officer, I think it was a police officer, 911 dispatcher said, hey, we're getting calls of lights. And so, then what happened? He was talking about, well, I guess we could talk about the couple, right? That was camping. We're kind of bringing it in something else.
Yeah. So, all of these, so the episode itself bounces between all of these different witnesses to it. Right. And it spends a lot of time with the weatherman, who's, everybody's hero at this point, which is a shame considering what happened to him after, how he was dragged through the mud.
Yeah.
After all this, but, yeah, he talks about how they circled around, there's lights, and how it's silent. Like that's the couple that was camping was talking about that too.
Which I wish they would have found them. if they're still alive. I don't know how old they are or whatever,
Yeah.
but that would have been a good interview.
They said that the another thing the weather guy said was because he noticed the location was always over the open part of the water in the center, and it was not over the ice.
Mm-hmm.
And to him that was important because of I'm not entirely sure, but then one of somebody, I forget who it was though, that's there was an account of it was like taking up water, like one of the things.
So it looked like a white waterfall.
Yeah, like a water spout, but like the ship was actually taking up the water, and it couldn't, like, I guess, to debunk the water spout theory. It's not a water spout. There was no weather that night. There was clear, the radar was clear, everything was clear. So there was no weather that would have caused a water spout. So
yeah, and I think that had to do with the ice, because if they were over the ice, they wouldn't have been able to maybe necessarily pull up all that water. So they were in that open space of water.
There seemed to be something about that.
Yeah, and they said that there were at that point there were multiple ships. They were rendezvousing in that area. So it makes you think, like, were the aliens there to obtain resources? Do they need our water?
Yeah, like what is that about? So they could have been taking up resources and stuff. They were the weather guy was talking about them looking like they were trying to communicate with each other. Like the way, or communicate with us, because they were doing in this formation, and as the radar moved, they stayed in that band on the radar thing. So it's like they knew what it was doing so that they could be seen. So they were intentionally trying to be seen, was what he got from that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like there's like, if you dive into this rabbit hole on the internet, like you get like the Galactic Federation, like, or something, like there's like actual meetings, apparently, for those who believe in this world. There's like this meeting of people in this Galactic Federation, or entities, I guess I should say, because we're the only people, but all of the other entities from all of these other planets, and they all meet up. I wonder if that was, you know what I mean?
Well, they did say too, on the Unsolved Mysteries that, and maybe it was the Unsolved Mysteries, or I started digging into like the NSA and like the Freedom, was it the Freedom Act? I can't think right now.
Freedom of Information.
Freedom of Information. Yeah, it's late. Sorry, it is 10 o'clock. Everyone, we're not that young anymore. But
I know,
Freedom
right?
of Information Act.
10 o'clock on a Friday night. What are you doing?
But it was interesting because they said that particular evening on the March 8th, 1994, there were crazy amounts of sightings all over the U.S. that one particular day. So I can't remember which resource I found it from. I remember
reading that too. And so somebody had a theory that, like, because of the speed at which they were moving, like they could have been over Lake Michigan and then in Washington, where they were spotted also, and then back to Michigan, instantaneously, practically,
Yeah, I mean, they said the speed that they were going, Jack, the weather guy, said that they could go from New York to LA in 2 minutes, which is not physically possible with our technology.
Right. Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care, because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
Peloton, let's go.
This holiday, with the right music and the right motivation from world-class instructors,
We're going to pick it up a notch. It's the holiday season.
you might just surprise yourself with what you're capable of. Work out to thousands of live and on-demand classes, from running to cycling to yoga. Try Peloton risk-free with a 30-day home trial. New members only, not available in remote locations. See additional terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial. Peloton, motivation that moves you.
So yeah, you have like, I think they said something like it was reported by over 300 people. Now, which in today's day and age, 300 doesn't seem like very many, you know? Like that's a low day of likes on Instagram, you know, for people. But in March 1993, when nobody had cell phones, you know, or 1984, nobody had cell phones, right? Nobody had, and we didn't have any of this instantaneous communication. We didn't have the technology, like cell phone cameras and stuff. And we can talk about cameras because that's a whole thing too. Why are there no pictures of this? But yeah, back then, that was a lot of people calling the police department, you know, whether they called 911 or the non-emergency line or whatever it is. That's a lot of people in an area to call.
It makes you wonder, because there was this, like, people were viewed as, they talked about mental health, like people were viewed as crazy if they saw UFOs, unstable. And so there may have been that underlying fear of people not wanting to report it. So who knows how many people just chose not to.
Exactly.
Because of that.
You know, so for people who say, oh, well, this, you know, this is just a hoax or it's just a few people colluding, whatever, you're going to get over 300 people colluding to give the exact same description of it. Like that doesn't make common sense. It doesn't pass the smell test, as they say.
And at the end of the day, our government has admitted now with all the release of documents that there are unidentified flying objects. So now, whether that be alien, people can say it's Russia or it's whatever they want to say. At the end of the day, our government's saying this is not our technology, or this is not us. So it's unidentified. We don't know what it is. So there's that, you know.
I mean, so we have this, you know, this event that all of these people see, right? They all give the same descriptions of it. So, you know, to me, it's much more plausible that these are actual aliens than 300 people colluding to tell a hoax story. Honestly, I mean, that's where I'm at.
Well, and if you hear the calls, you can hear it in their voice. Like they're scared. Some of them were like confused. Some of them were scared.
Right. The weather guy talks about how he called his wife and asked his wife to go look at him, and his wife was scared.
Right.
After
like,
listening to what he, you know, listening to everything, she's like, nope.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the pictures. Why is there no pictures of this scenario? Right. Well, first of all, it's 1994, right? So here's the thing about cameras in 1994, right? And I am cribbing a lot of this from this person on Reddit made this really good post about it. So it was very informative. So I'm taking it kind of from there. But back then, you don't have the kind of cameras that we have now. You know, first of all, we don't have cell phones, don't have cell phone cameras. Nobody has a camera in their pocket, much less a good quality camera. Like, you know, back in the 90s, you either had an actual like plastic camera that you put film in, or you had like a disposable camera, right?
Which we all know those were terrible pictures.
God forbid, maybe you had a Polaroid, right? So then what do? You take your film the next day to the CVS and, you know, check the box and pay the extra money for the hour developing, which is done by like Jojo the flip-flop boy down the street who's like 13 trying to like develop these things. You know, and of course, you know, disposable stupid cameras like these aren't, just, if they're as bright and light as they were described, like that's just going to look like a complete overexposure on a camera, right? Or the lighting will overcompensate and then it'll be completely dark. Like you're not going to get any kind of good stuff, you know. If somebody had a really good camera, they could have done it, but I mean,
well, and nobody's walking around with camcorders. I mean, I remember when I was really young, my dad had like the big camcorder. Like he was the cool guy with the one on your shoulder. Looks like a professional camera, but it was really just old and huge. Nobody had those. Like,
right.
You had them at your house that you pulled out for special occasions or whatever. You don't keep them in your car for UFO sightings or random Bigfoot sightings.
So this is what this guy said. That if anyone in 1994 was going to take a photo of what happened, they would need to be out on a dock over Lake Michigan with a high quality SLR with a good lens, zoomed in on a tripod, pointed out at the hovering UFO allegedly sucking up water for a half an hour. Camera would need to have 800 or 1600 speed film for low light conditions, 3200 possible, but you risk severe grain at that speed. The camera shutter would need to stay open for at least 10 minutes or longer, and you would need to hope that the light from the object stayed consistent and not moving, which we know wasn't happening because they were all described as moving. But any bit of movement from the ships or the lights on them would affect the image, and then you would need to carefully develop for low light exposure. So the local drugstore, i.e. JoJo's flip-flop boy down the street, the Walgreens, would not suffice. And then if the image is suggestive of something in the sky soaking up water, then you need to parade that around to whoever would listen in 1994, that you were out at 1 a.m. on a dock at Lake Michigan taking pictures, long exposure night shot of a UFO siphoning fresh water from Lake Michigan. Ta-da.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
That was very technical, that Reddit user.
Right.
Very awesome.
You guys, I am so excited to tell you about the Cheese Lover Shop. That's right, thecheeselovershop.com. Are you looking to have like a ready-to-go solution to create the perfect cheese board this holiday season? cheeselovershop.com has you covered. You are going to find the perfect solution to impress all of your guests with a variety of available cheese kits. These are great for office parties too. Like, are you assigned to bring a side dish to the holiday party? Well, guess what? cheeselovershop.com has everything. They offer a large variety of award-winning cheeses along with amazing complimentary items so that you can create the best cheese board at home or at the office. Do you want to offer a cheesy gift to your loved ones this holiday season, but you're not sure what they like? Do they like hard cheeses? Do they like soft cheeses? No problem. cheeselovershop.com offers e-gift cards so your loved ones can decide on their own what they want to get. Still don't know what else to get them? Guess what? They have cheese subscriptions. That's right, cheese subscriptions, so that you are sure to never run out of delicious cheese options. What better gift for the cheese lover in your life, right? Go to cheeselovershop.com and use code FRAUDCAST to get a free mystery cheese at checkout. That's cheeselovershop.com and use code FRAUDCAST, FRAUDCAST, to get a free mystery cheese with your order. Hey, Fraudcasters, fall is just around the corner. As the seasons change, now is the perfect time to reset and think about the little changes that you can make in your daily routine to better your health. Care Of is a subscription service that ships high-quality, personalized vitamins, supplements, and powders conveniently to your door every month. You take a short, fun, in-depth quiz about your lifestyle and health goals, and you get a personalized recommendation. You can choose from their recommendations about what they think is best suited for you, or just take the guesswork completely out of it and just use the results of the quiz. They get shipped to you in these individualized little packs with your name on them that have all your daily vitamins in that one pack, but you don't have to stress about the planet because they are made of plant-based compostable film. So you're doing a good thing, but you still get the individualized packs. And each shipment comes with a customized booklet showing you exactly what was in your individual pack and why it was recommended specifically for you and your health goals. For 50% off your first Care Of order, go to takecareof.com and enter code FRAUDCAST50. That's 50% off your first Care Of order. You go to takecareof, spelled TAKECAREOF.com, and enter code FRAUDCAST50.
So I felt that was, I was like, okay, that explains a lot. You know, I try to, think about like on 4th of July, all the people who try to post pictures of, here's fireworks, and all
it's all blurry, like
blurry.
Well, and also it was March, but it was still really cold. People weren't just like sitting out on their porches, having a beer. Like it was cold in Michigan.
Yeah. Michigan and so talk about what happened to Jack after.
This poor
because
guy.
The journalist got a hold of this, the call, because Freedom of Information Act, the call got released. Now it's out in the public. Everybody hears this conversation. They hear him basically confirming that there's these UFOs out here and all of the information about them. So you've got this renowned scientist in his field suddenly in 94 saying, look at these UFOs.
And of course, the first thing that the National Weather Service does is they come out with a statement, right? Saying, well, this was this. They try to explain it, which of course Jack confirmed and everyone else that that's not true. That's not what happened. And he said that if he had done any interviews on his own, he knew he would have been fired. He did not consent to having this, leaked, but it was a 911 call.
Yeah, it was a police call. I mean, it's on a police recorded line. You know that. Yeah.
Right. And so of course it got out and he wasn't happy about it. So he was looked upon as kind of like Looney Tunes, and his own coworkers were making jokes with him, hanging UFO stuff around the
assholes.
office. Yeah.
It sounds like a toxic work environment, which, I mean, in 94, you were, a fetus. So, but I was out in the professional world, and culture in the 90s was toxic. It was, it just was. The 90s in general as a decade were fairly toxic, especially the fashion, but we won't go in. And the eyebrows. 90s. The eyebrows are just, I'm not even.
Thin and barely there.
Yeah.
Or was that 2000s? But either way.
Yeah.
Early 2000s. But yeah, I mean, this poor guy was ridiculed, and I don't remember if he actually got fired or if he just quit because
he ended up taking a job in like Atlanta or something
to get away. Yeah, he moved away.
He stayed with the Weather Service because once you're in with the government, you're in with government, right? So like he took advantage of that and took a job elsewhere. But still, he
had to uproot his whole family, which he grew up there. That was his home. He didn't want to leave his friends and his family, and again back then in the 90s, there was no Reddit or internet, but people talked, and his name was pretty much ruined.
Yeah, he's the weatherman with UFOs, right?
Yeah. And by the way, he was actually stating facts. I mean, the call itself, he was describing everything with science, with literal science. Like, this is this, this is this. And people still wanted to.
He's not saying what they were. He's just saying this is what it's showing, and it can't be this. It can't be this. So I guess he ultimately retired, and now he's like embraced this full force, and I fully support this 100%. He's just he decided to go back into it. He goes back to Michigan, and he starts talking to people like the Spaceship Society people, and he starts talking to everybody. He's trying to get more people to talk about this. So he's like, you know what? I'm associated with this now. Like, I'm balls in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Embrace it. Embrace it. And I feel like it has shifted now since 1994. I feel like you're not looked upon as crazy when you say, hey, I believe in UFOs or aliens. Maybe there's still people that think you're crazy, but it's different. It's not as tough, I guess you could say.
I think it's definitely a different environment. Plus you have all the government stuff that's coming out where they're declassifying some stuff and where they're talking more about it, and you've got more renowned people like some of these astronauts that are coming out and talking about their what they experienced and witnessed and stuff. And of course, who knows what's still classified,
Right. And then you have the internet sleuths now, because NASA has released satellite images, and you can access all kinds of stuff now online. Right. So I actually have a friend from college. He literally will look at Google, satellite stuff, and look at just the moon and stuff, and see all kinds of stuff in the sky. But it's very fascinating because we as regular people can have so much access to things that we didn't have before.
So like how we started out the episode, right? Like you were talking about, like, you hope more people now with this episode, this Unsolved Mysteries that came out, and the attention that the series is getting now, more people hopefully will talk about it. Hopefully who saw it. And not just that, but other situations too. Maybe more people will feel more empowered to talk about these things. Personally, I believe we cannot. I don't know. I believe that we cannot be the only thing out here. I guess is what I'm saying.
I agree.
I don't know what else is out there, but I believe that there has to be something, because we can't be the only ones.
We are such a minuscule part of the entire universe. Like, it's
right.
It's just yeah.
It's not one of those things that I've gone down like the true rabbit hole on, as far as like my knowledge of it, the way that like I know other stuff. But it is fascinating, like the mini rabbit hole that I've gone down, learning about the Galactic Federation. I've got somebody on my Instagram feed that totally is all completely into this, and it goes to the Galactic Federation, or
Now I have to look that up. I'm gonna write that down.
or whatever it is. I'll send you the Instagram account of this woman who she spreads awareness and does classes and all kinds of things.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll have her on and she can explain all this stuff to us.
Well, and I think a lot of people are just fearful, and they're fearful of what they don't understand, so they don't even want to acknowledge or look into it. Like they just nope,
Yeah, there's
Don't
enough
wanna go there.
issues with that here.
Mhm.
On Earth.
Yeah,
People
exactly.
don't like what they don't understand.
Yeah.
Much less in the Galactic Federation or whatever it is.
Can you tote it, but you just need an egg? Or maybe you have all the eggs. Do you even know what your ovarian reserve is? Did you know that 1 out of 6 couples struggle with infertility? Seriously, that's a staggering statistic that most people don't know or aren't ready to talk about. But we need good data and information about our bodies in order to have informed conversations with our doctors and make the best decisions for ourselves and our futures. What if I told you that you could get important fertility insight without going to the doctor or even leaving home? The traditional guidance with fertility has been just wait and see. I know, I've been through it myself. There's got to be a better way. But now we have tools to help us plan for and track everything in our lives. Wellness, finances, careers, school. Why is fertility still just wait and see? That's why Modern Fertility was created. It's an easy and affordable way to test your fertility hormones at home with a simple finger prick. Mail it in with a prepaid label and you'll get your personalized results within 10 days. You'll get insight into your hormone levels, your ovarian reserve, aka how many eggs you have compared to other women your age, like can you tote your own egg or do you need somebody else's egg, and other really important fertility factors. The results go deep into what every hormone means, and you can also download the results to review with your doctor for the next steps. Traditional testing can cost over $1,000, but Modern Fertility gets you the same information at a fraction of the price. If you go to modernfertility.com/fraudcast, you can get $20 off your test. Also, if you have an HSA or FSA, you can put those dollars towards Modern Fertility, which is great. If you want kids today or maybe one day in the future, clinically sound information about your body now can help you make the right decision that's right for you. Right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/fraudcast. That means your test will cost $179 instead of the hundreds or thousands it could cost at a doctor's office. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/fraudcast. That's modernfertility.com/fraudcast. Did you know that 30 million women are impacted by weakened or thinning hair? If you're among them, know that you're not alone and that there is a solution that you can trust to deliver results. Millions of Americans experience thinning hair. It's more than common. It's actually normal, but it's not openly talked about, especially among us women. Going through it can feel lonely and frustrating, but it's time to change that conversation and join the thousands of women who are already standing up for their strands with Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Nutrafol supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting the 5 root causes of thinning: stress, hormones, environment, nutrition, and metabolism through a whole body health. Nutrafol has 3 unique formulas to support women through all stages of life, including postpartum and menopause. Each formula is physician formulated using natural, drug-free, medical-grade ingredients in consistently effective dosages so you get the most reliable results. In a clinical study, 86% of women reported improved hair growth after 6 months. Over 3,000 top doctors and stylists have recommended Nutrafol as an effective and high-quality solution for healthier hair. You can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com and entering the promo code FRAUD to save $15 off your first month's subscription. This is their best offer anywhere, and it's only available to U.S. customers for a limited time. plus free shipping on every order. Get $15 off at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code FRAUD.
They were out there for hours. And I would, I am definitely interested in hearing what more people have to say of it. I'm really interested to hear what people in other locations, maybe, because this was all centered around the Lake Michigan. I would be really curious to see what comes out now about what people saw at the same time.
Yeah. And it actually, I can't tell you the year that I saw the first UFO, but I was around 10. I know I was in about 5th grade. I wasn't in middle school yet. And I was born in April. Was born in April. So 85. And so March 1994, I mean, that could have been around the time I saw the first one. I'm not sure though. I can't confirm that, but it's interesting that that was a busy time for the UFOs.
Yeah. Tell me about your experiences.
So, okay. I grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, and it's a suburb of DC. However, where I grew up is not in like the city of Silver Spring. It's more on the outskirts near a city called Burtonsville, which is like more rural, I guess you could say, but still city-like, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I had 2 bedrooms in my window growing up, facing like the neighbor's house across the street. I lived in, your typical neighborhood. I woke up to use the restroom, I believe. It was dark in my room. My shades were open. And I remember getting up out of bed and something caught my eye, and I thought it was a street light right outside of my window, but it was very bright. So I'm like, what? And I just kind of walked up to the window and I literally see this UFO slowly descending behind there's my neighbor across the street. And then I would say like 2 rows past hers, and there was like some woods. I literally see this object just going like this, just moving down slowly. And I was frozen in fear because I was thinking, now I don't sleepwalk. I don't have any sleep issues or anything like that. I know what I saw. And I stood there.
What shape was it?
So this is where it was weird. And I stopped because I said to myself, what is that? Because it was not like your typical disc shape of what everyone seems to want to draw out. So it was more like this, which is what shape is this? Like a teardrop kind of shape. Okay. It was round at the bottom. It looked like a Hershey Kiss-ish.
Okay.
It was more round. And it had not just like one row of lights circling it. It was like a lot of lights.
Were the lights attached to the thing, or were they like around it, like rings?
It was it was attached. Like you could see separate lights, if that makes sense. Like, but they were all around it. It wasn't just like one solid.
Okay.
And I just stood there and I looked for a second, and I was just like, "What is that?" And I was so scared.
How old again?
I had to have been in 5th grade, so maybe around 9 or 10.
Okay.
I don't know how old. So I'm looking out of the window, and I'm pressed against the glass of the window, and it's cold because I'm like frozen. And then I thought the first thing that crossed my mind is, oh my God, can they see me? Right? Because I'm like looking out, and I was like, oh, what is that? And so I don't have like a knowledge of aircrafts or anything. I know what helicopters and planes look like, but I'm like, that is not a helicopter or plane or that anything that I've ever seen. And I didn't have the internet back then to start Googling what I saw. So it just was embedded in my memory. I mean, I will never forget that night. And then it disappeared behind the trees, and I went to bed, and I just stayed in bed. Well, I shouldn't say I fell asleep. I just laid there, I think, until the next morning. I just couldn't move. Didn't want to get my parents up. Just frozen in fear. Because I thought, are they coming for me? Do they see me looking at them, even though it was far away? So that was the first time. And then the second time I was with my dad, and we were in the car, and I was in high school. So it was not young, coming back from swim practice. He was driving. So I was definitely not 16, probably 15, I guess. And we were just driving down 198, which is a street near where I live. There was like some farmland, which is very rare where I live. There's like no farmland. It's like a very tiny farm. And over the field, I see a UFO. And it's like the more, the one you typically think of when you think of UFO. Like the
stereotype type of thing.
And I'm sitting in the back seat. So somebody was with me. Was it my brother? I think it was my brother with me. I don't remember. But I'm all I know is I was sitting in the back seat. I was looking up through the window and I said, oh my God, holy shit. And I pointed. I said, Dad, look at this. And it's funny now because like being an adult, I can see where he was coming from. So he did one of these like, what? And then just totally did not want to acknowledge it, right? Like it wasn't there.
Right.
I was like, Dad, do you see that, right? And then just like completely, I'm sure it's nothing.
Do you talk to him about it now?
I have not brought it up in years.
You should.
I should. We brought up the ghost talk recently.
Okay.
But that's a whole other story. But
that's a whole other set of episodes.
Right. But I will say that I know what I saw. I know what he saw because I saw his reaction to me pointing to this guy and him looking out. And that was just kind of hovering more than anything. It didn't really do anything. It was just hovering over the field. And it was pretty high up. It wasn't like really low to the ground. So I wasn't scared that it was going to like kidnap me or anything, but it was still kind of freaky. And we were driving. It wasn't like I was in my house
by yourself staring at this thing
there, right,
staring back at you like the Watcher.
So I'm like, so what are the odds of like two different crafts like in my area? And I, we live near each other, sort of like the DC area. It's a very highly populated area, right? We're near every military
with lots of limited airspace.
Right. And I'm like, okay, we've got Andrews Air Force Base. We've got, the Pentagon is in between both of us, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Closer to you. But like, we've just got so many different things. The NSA.
That's over by you.
Right. I drive by the NSA almost every day. I drive by the NSA.
When I used to live out there, I did too.
Yeah. And so we've got
what's happening up there?
I call the NSA, this is like a little off topic, I call it the Bermuda Triangle because every time I drive by the NSA, there's like 2 or 3 broken down cars. I'm like, what are you doing breaking down in front of the NSA? Like, I don't know. It's weird. Then you've got like the police coming out. I don't know. It's super awkward, but
super weird.
So those are my UFO stories.
Maybe they're the people that try to take that exit that you're not allowed to take. Because it's blocked off because it goes directly to the NSA. I don't know. That's what happens. Maybe. I mean,
I see people changing tires. Like, I'm like, you could have done this a half a mile on either side of the NSA, and there's just like that one area right by the exit where people always break down, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
weird. We would love to hear your guys' theories and stories. If you have stories about other sightings, incidents, things like that, or you have theories or anything about this particular situation, or if you were there yourself, if you saw any of this yourself, I'll link it down in the show notes. Go to unsolved.com is the Unsolved Mysteries webpage. I will link this episode. We will also try to make sure we will put up a Facebook on it. So come discuss it on the Facebook post. And we look forward to hearing from you. Till next time. Nanu. You're too old for that. I mean, you're too young for that. That's too, no, Nanu.
Wait, what's that from?
Star Trek? Mork from Ork.
Oh, okay.
Robin Williams.
Yes, I'm too.
That's well before your time.
But I know what you're talking about. Okay. Sort of. Yeah.
All right. God, I'm old. All right.
I was like E.T. phone home.
E.T. phone home. Totally different. Different hand gesture and everything.
Yeah.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.